In the race to capitalize on artificial intelligence, Wall Street is drawing a clear line in the enterprise software market. On one side, you have Microsoft. Since the launch of ChatGPT, the 50-year-old incumbent has added over $2 trillion in market value, cementing its position as a $4 trillion behemoth. On the other side are the cloud-native, best-of-breed specialists, companies like Dropbox in document storage, Workday in HR, and Salesforce in customer relationship management. And yet, their valuations have largely stagnated as investors grapple with one fundamental question. That question is the single biggest uncertainty in the AI revolution. Is this technology a genuine, profitable growth driver, or is it just an expensive promise? While the potential of AI is revolutionary, the path to real profit remains unproven. The market is still skeptical that this technology can move beyond impressive demos to create killer use cases that truly boost the bottom line for companies. So how has Microsoft, and Microsoft alone, presented Wall Street with a strategy that appears to solve the ROI problem? The key to Microsoft's compelling narrative lies not in a single breakthrough model, but in the unique architecture of its business. For decades, Microsoft has methodically constructed an enterprise ecosystem with immensely high switching costs. This ecosystem now provides a powerful proprietary distribution channel, the ability to embed its new premium-priced AI services directly into the mandatory daily workflows of its massive captive customer base. To understand how Microsoft engineered this outcome, we first need to deconstruct the deep moats that create its customer lock-in, the new AI-driven business model designed to monetize that lock-in, and finally, the potential risks that threaten its business. Let's unpack this. Microsoft's $4 trillion valuation is built on a very real moat it commands today. While its competitors sell best-in-class tools, Microsoft sells an entire, interconnected ecosystem. To understand its advantage, you have to look into the three interlocking layers that create an immense customer lock-in. The first layer isn't just technical, it's decades of ingrained human behavior. While a powerful challenger like Google Workspace is often praised for its simpler interface and cloud-native collaboration, the reality for established businesses is that Microsoft's core Office applications are woven into the very fabric of their operations. As one system administrator put it, any attempt to switch platforms will only piss off end users that have been expected since 6th grade to use the Office suite. And nowhere is this more absolute than in a company's finance department, where the world runs on Excel. Its powerful desktop client and complex macros are mission-critical for financial modeling. For decades, finance departments have built mission-critical business logic directly into Excel macros using a proprietary Microsoft technology called VBA. This has created a massive, undocumented VBA vault of technical debt. Mitigating these processes isn't a simple file conversion, it's a high-risk reverse engineering project, a task where users described as a massive pain, effectively making a full transition an operational risk most businesses are unwilling to take. This human layer is then reinforced by a much deeper architectural layer of lock-in. And its linchpin is a service that most users have never even heard of, Microsoft Entra ID. The adoption happens subtly. As one IT professional pointed out on Reddit, business managers see the immediate benefits of Microsoft 365, but very little consideration is given to the identity element. The result? You make an unconscious decision to nail your organization to Entra. It becomes the central gatekeeper for user identity, and once Entra is the foundation, everything is built on top of it. Multi-factor authentication, granular conditional access policies, and device management via Intune. This makes Microsoft the path of least resistance for any system needs, transforming what began as a simple Office subscription into an all-encompassing architectural commitment. Finally, this dependency is compounded deep within the cloud infrastructure of Microsoft Azure itself. To realize the full potential of the cloud, developers are encouraged to use powerful but proprietary services like Azure Synapse SQL. As one customer acknowledged on Reddit, you have to take advantage of the vendor-specific offerings to be efficient. But this creates a powerful trade-off. Applications built with these tools are not easily portable to another cloud provider like Amazon Web Services. While functional competitors like Amazon's Redshift or Google's BigQuery do exist, they are not interchangeable. An application built specifically for Azure's architecture requires a significant and costly re-engineering project to run elsewhere. This creates a deep technical dependency on Azure's services. So, while Microsoft is most famous for the software on your desktop, its true moat isn't just in the applications themselves. It's in the way this entire system is woven into the core operational fabric of a business. The human inertia from Office, the architectural dependency on Entra, and the deep infrastructure lock-in within Azure don't just create dependency on a single product. They create a powerful captivity to the entire platform. Now, to understand Microsoft's success in upselling AI, you first have to understand the central dilemma facing every other enterprise software company. AI is not cheap. It requires massive, ongoing investment in infrastructure and research. For companies like Salesforce or Workday, this creates a difficult choice. Either absorb these new costs and compress their margins, or try to justify a significant price hike to their customers for new AI features. It's a difficult upsell. But Microsoft had a different plan. It saw its immediate total addressable market not as new customers to be won, but as the vast captive base it already owned. The more than 400 million paid commercial seats of Microsoft 365. At a premium price point of $30 per user per month, this represents a theoretical annual revenue opportunity exceeding $144 billion. This brings us to the new economic model at the heart of Microsoft's strategy. Here is how it works. Microsoft embeds its AI assistant, Copilot, directly into the applications its customers are already forced to use every day. Access to this new intelligent layer comes at a steep price. That $30 per month fee represents a 50 to 80% increase over the cost of the prerequisite E3 or E5 licenses. This move fundamentally changes Microsoft's economic engine, and it's why, in its financial reporting, the company deliberately channels the impact into the growth of average revenue per user. This isn't just an accounting detail, it's a narrative strategy. Copilot is framed not as a new product, but as a non-negotiable value enhancement to the core business. And Microsoft had a powerful proof point that this model would work. GitHub Copilot. The developer assistant is already a larger business than the entirety of GitHub was when Microsoft acquired it for $7.5 billion, proving a dedicated professional user base will pay a recurring premium for embedded AI. The results of this strategy have been immediate. CEO Satya Nadella has stated that Copilot's adoption growth is faster than either E3 or E5 suites. With penetration already reaching nearly 70% of Fortune 500 companies, this rapid adoption is a key reason why Microsoft's overall AI business has already surpassed a $13 billion annual revenue run rate. From a strategic perspective, Copilot is far more than a new product. By embedding AI deeply into the core workflows of hundreds of millions of knowledge workers, Microsoft dramatically increases customer dependency on its ecosystem, raises switching costs, and creates a powerful data flywheel. The vast amounts of data generated from user interactions are used to continuously refine its AI models, reinforcing a formidable competitive advantage for the next decade. So, let's have a quick recap of a typical customer journey. For the market, this step-by-step process is the key to understanding Microsoft's current valuation. It's an AI playbook that no other software company can easily replicate. The journey begins not with a hard sell, but with an easy one, a subscription to Microsoft 365. This gets the familiar Office suite into an organization, establishing the initial beachhead. But this isn't just a software subscription. From a business perspective, it's the first step in creating a long-term, high-value relationship. The adoption of M365 often establishes Microsoft Entra ID as the company's core identity system. This is the non-obvious but critical second step that creates a deep architectural dependency. Once that anchor is set, the playbook moves to expansion. With Entra ID managing user identity, Microsoft Azure becomes the path of least resistance for any new cloud infrastructure needs. For Wall Street, this means Microsoft has a low-friction, low-cost path to capture a greater share of its customers' IT budgets. Simultaneously, another powerful form of gravity takes hold: data. By using M365, all of the company's most critical documents, spreadsheets, and reports are now stored in SharePoint and OneDrive. Microsoft now holds the organization's institutional knowledge. This sets the stage for the final and profitable phase, the AI upsell. For a company now fully running on Microsoft's identity, infrastructure, and data platforms, Copilot is presented as the only logical solution. It has native, secure access to all the company's data in SharePoint and OneDrive, an integration that would be a complex project for any external chatbot. The $30 per user per month price is a high-margin revenue stream layered on top of a captive customer. This is the proprietary monetization funnel that the market understands. While best-of-breed companies must try to convince customers of new AI features, Microsoft has a much more natural path to embedding that new value directly into the mandatory workflows of its customers. And this is the core of Microsoft's AI playbook. By the way, deconstructing Microsoft's AI playbook is a deep topic, and it's the kind of analysis we deliver every week in our newsletter, ARPU. If you want to get these frameworks and insights sent directly to your inbox, you'll find the link at the top of the description. But Microsoft's business is not without risks. To understand them, we first have to appreciate the unique economic moment we are in. The generative AI revolution has created a powerful microeconomy within the broader technology sector, one that appears, for now, partially insulated from traditional microeconomic pressures. The strategic imperative for businesses to adopt AI is so urgent that it is overriding normal budget caution. But even within this boom, Microsoft's $4 trillion bet is not guaranteed. The very strategy that powers its ascent is creating a new set of vulnerabilities. The first risk is the market concerns about AI capex. Microsoft is planning to spend a historic amount of capital, over $88 billion in a single year, to build its AI infrastructure. To put that number in perspective, that represents about 35% of the company's annual revenue in 2024. The rationale for this spending is to build an insurmountable lead. But the fundamental question that keeps investors up at night is whether the returns will ever justify the cost. In her own guidance, CFO Amy Hood projected that even with strong double-digit revenue growth, operating margins are expected to be relatively unchanged. This signals that the massive costs of the AI build-out are growing in lockstep with the revenue it generates. And this risk is deepened by a technological vulnerability: Microsoft's dependency on its partner, OpenAI. While Microsoft has its own internal AI projects, its enterprise AI strategy and the Copilot products driving its growth are fundamentally built on OpenAI's models. But this famed partnership is now under intense strain. According to a report from the Wall Street Journal, the two sides have turned into competitors, with tensions reaching a boiling point. OpenAI is reportedly seeking to loosen Microsoft's exclusive grip on its technology and is even considering what sources called a nuclear option, accusing Microsoft of anti-competitive behavior. This means Microsoft is spending tens of billions on infrastructure to support a core technology it does not fully control, creating a significant long-term risk as the two companies are now at a standoff over everything from IP rights to the future ownership structure of a for-profit OpenAI. The second threat comes from the outside: a global regulatory siege. Microsoft's core advantage is its ability to bundle its products into a seamless, integrated ecosystem. But regulators see this not as a benefit, but as a classic anti-competitive tactic. The unbundling of Teams from Office 365 in Europe is a key example. While a tactical concession, it sets a critical precedent. The risk for Microsoft isn't a single dramatic unbundling of Copilot, but a long war of attrition. Regulators could force a series of smaller concessions over time, mandating more interoperability here, questioning a data integration there, that slowly chip away at the very seamlessness of the ecosystem that makes Microsoft's AI playbooks so powerful. Finally, Microsoft's aggressive pricing strategy is testing the absolute limits of its market power. The company has rolled out significant price hikes across its portfolio, with increases of 40% for Power BI Pro and 25% for Teams Phone. Microsoft publicly justifies these hikes as reflective of their continued innovation in AI and cloud security. This is a calculated bet that its customer lock-in is strong enough to withstand the sticker shock, but it creates the risk of a customer backlash. By forcing a premium price for AI, Microsoft may be alienating its more price-sensitive customers and creating a powerful incentive for them to begin the long and difficult process of unbundling, seeking out cheaper, good enough alternatives before the walls of the ecosystem close in completely. So, how does Microsoft respond to these risks and challenges? To counter the risk of customer alienation from its aggressive pricing strategy, the company is reframing the entire conversation. It's not selling a more expensive piece of software, it's selling a necessary business transformation. This is the core of what Microsoft in its 2025 Work Trend Index calls the frontier firm, a new type of organization re-architected around AI. The narrative argues that to remain competitive, businesses must become frontier firms, and the integrated Microsoft platform is the indispensable tool for that journey. The high cost of using Microsoft's AI products is therefore positioned not as a painful price hike, but as a critical investment in future survival.
Another key point in this report is that AI-forward companies, or the ones you call frontier firms, will have a real advantage in seizing the force-multiplying power of AI agents. Do you think all companies will have to become frontier firms?
I think they'll either become a frontier firm or they'll end up being disrupted by someone who's figured out how to use this intelligence on tap more effectively than they do. So you look at for instance, the volatility in the market today, you look at how quickly companies have to now adapt to all sorts of different situations. And those that are able to combine human intelligence with artificial intelligence in the form of agents, I think they're going to differentiate themselves for sure.
To defend against the regulatory threat of unbundling, Microsoft's playbook isn't one of outright confrontation, but of calculated concession. Faced with a lengthy antitrust battle in Europe over Teams, the company made a significant move. It proactively unbundled the product from Office 365 globally. This is a strategy shaped by the hard lessons of its 1990s antitrust trial, where the company learned that the public, resource-intensive legal process can be more damaging than the final verdict. By making a tactical sacrifice on the Teams bundle, Microsoft aims to preempt a similar, far more dangerous regulatory assault on its core strategic prize, the deep integration of Copilot with its entire ecosystem. And finally, to address the concerns about AI CapEx, the playbook is to prove the ROI with overwhelming evidence of adoption and monetization. This is a direct message to Wall Street that the bet is already paying off. Microsoft reports that 70% of the Fortune 500 are already using Copilot, with the number of customers purchasing over 10,000 seats doubling in a single quarter. It showcases massive deployments like the 100,000 seats at Barclays as proof that the world's largest companies see a clear return. This reinforces the blueprint established by GitHub Copilot, which is already a larger business than the entirety of GitHub was at the time of its acquisition. This rapid, high-margin revenue growth is Microsoft's ultimate answer to the concerns about its historic capital spend. Now, how do these seemingly separate moves, a marketing narrative, a regulatory concession, and a financial proof point, all connect? They're all in service of a single, powerful, underlying strategy: platform abstraction. This is the principle of shifting the value away from the individual components and up to an intelligent service layer that sits on top of everything. With this strategy, the frontier firm narrative isn't just marketing, it's the justification for paying for this new abstracted layer. The tactical unbundling of teams becomes a calculated sacrifice, protecting the integrity of the more valuable integrated AI layer that works across all the apps. And the overwhelming ROI data becomes the ultimate proof that customers are willing to pay for the value of the abstraction itself, not just the underlying tools. You're no longer just buying Word and Excel, you're buying Copilot, an intelligent assistant that abstracts them all. You're not just renting servers on Azure, you're buying AI capability from the Foundry. This is Microsoft's ultimate defense. It reframes the entire competitive debate. The battle is no longer about the features of any single application, but about the intelligence and power of the entire abstracted platform. We come back to the original question. Why has Microsoft, a 50-year-old incumbent, become Wall Street's $4 trillion answer to the AI revolution, while its cloud-native peers have been left behind? The answer is that Microsoft is the only company that has engineered a platform where it doesn't have to sell AI into a competitive market. It simply has to install it as a premium upgrade for a captive one. Its best-of-breed competitors must fight to convince customers to adopt their new tools. Microsoft, by contrast, has a proprietary monetization funnel that guides its user base directly to its most profitable new offering. That is the engine that answers the AI ROI question, and it is the core of the Microsoft's AI strategy. The market's current valuation on Microsoft is a bet that the company's playbook will successfully navigate the risks of its own making. It's a bet that the returns from its AI strategy will justify the historic capital investment and that regulators will not dismantle its integrated business model. So, how will we know if that bet is paying off? If you want to evaluate whether Microsoft is truly solidifying its dominance, here are the key signals to monitor. First, watch the money. In Microsoft's quarterly earnings, look specifically at Microsoft Cloud gross margins. Are they expanding, proving that the high-margin Copilot revenue is outpacing the massive cost of the AI infrastructure build-out? Second, track the adoption. Listen for any new disclosures on Copilot's attach rate within the commercial user base or any commentary on the average revenue per user in the productivity and business processes segment. This is a direct measure of whether customers are willing to absorb the costs. Third, keep an eye on the regulators. Watch for EU and UK antitrust investigations. Any decision that forces a structural unbundling of Microsoft's services would be a direct threat to the entire integrated strategy. Finally, track the cloud war. Is the massive capital expenditure translating into continued market share gains for Azure against Amazon Web Services? This will be the clearest indicator of whether the company's enormous infrastructure bet is successfully winning the platform war. This kind of strategic thinking, connecting financial metrics to the underlying business narrative, is the core of understanding the business of tech, not just the products. And it's what we do every week in our newsletter, ARPU. If you enjoyed this deconstruction of the strategy behind the headlines, I think you'll get a lot out of it. The link is right at the top of the description. And for those of you who want to go even deeper, the full research memo that this video was based on is also available at the same link. It's for anyone who wants to explore the raw data, the competitive analysis, and the business fundamentals behind this story. Thanks for watching.